Hi, my name is Rachell. I'm from New York and I grew up in the Bronx. My parents are both from the Dominican Republic. My dad is from La Romana and my mom is from La Vega, which is a city in Santiago, and I am 20 years old. Like, to be very honest, Afro-Latinas or people of color in general have always had to face this battle of working twice as hard to get somewhere, in life. And because of that, I just knew, I have to set my foot forward. I'm here at the University of Miami, but that was based off of all the hard work that I put in prior to my education. So I'm here on practically a full scholarship, and on top of that scholarship from my mom's job, who also helps me financially. But despite it all, yes, we're gonna have obstacles coming along the way, but you just have to work with them. So yeah, financially it was difficult, but hey, I'm here today, so just putting your best foot forward, basically, in a sense.
Hi, my name is Alicia Andreina Aguilar Eusebio, and I was born in the Dominican Republic. Being Afro-Latina to me, it's kind of having two identities into one persona. I grew up in the Dominican Republic, but then I moved to Tampa in but it really became evident when I moved down here, and I really got to experience more of my African side in college and high school. And there's many positives, but then there's also many negatives. I have experienced kind of like a look down into my African side, and with that comes obviously my accent. At first glance, people have just told me oh, I thought you were just black. Yes, I am black, but then they start listening to my accent, and they're okay, she's international. Comments like that, it's a little I don't really know how to take them well, because they're just oh, I thought you were just black, and then they hear my accent and they have a switch to it, and they see me at a different light. So I would say that's definitely a negative, just being seen as less black. I'm able to share my culture with in the community that I'm in. My Latina culture, that's something that I haven't really been able to do in the past, but recently I've been able to grow into a group of friends that have accepted my culture, and it feels good to be able to do that and to feel accepted within your own group of people. So being first generation here in the United States has been very difficult for me. It's a lot of pressure on my back, especially when my parents back home, it was just a very different system. When my mom went to college, she didn't have on-campus housing. She would just go to the university and drive back home. So she was still living at home with her parents. She was very much still dependent on them until she got married. And that's just how the Dominican culture is when it comes to college. They have a very different mentality on what a college experience should be like, and it's very different from the experience that I'm having right now. Whenever I tell them, oh, I live on a college campus, that's such a huge deal for them. Or that they have a little community inside of the campus that everyone lives in. That's a very alien term to them, and a very different idea of what they had in their minds. So when I tell them about my day-to-day experiences, it's not that they judge me for it, but it's more they don't understand, just because the mentality is so different and the cultural background that's embedded in the Dominican Republic. And sometimes it just feels, it's hard, because being away from them here in the United States, it would feel better if I had that support from them. When I lived on campus freshman year, they really didn't like that. They just didn't like how they had girls and guys living in a college dorm without any authority. I mean, yeah, they had resident RAs, but they were also college students, so to them they just didn't like that idea at all. And then also the fact that we have so much liberty, that here we don't have parents that can just go to the campus and be where's my son, where's my daughter? Because when they were in college, my mom would just tell me stories about that, how just the parents had so much control over them when they were still at the university. And just the fact that they don't have control over little things like that, they just have a different mentality, and it affects my day-to-day.
Hi, I'm Leona Garcia. I was born in the Dominican Republic, and I grew up there until I was 5 years old. Then me and my mom immigrated to New York City when I was around 6, and I was living there until around 14 years old, and then I went to boarding school. I think that it does feel a bit isolating just being the only person of color in a lot of your classes. It's like, oh, you know, you just kind of stand out more, and it just feels like you have to have, there's an expectation for you already walking into the classroom. I feel like you just need to be higher achieving in order to prove yourself, because a lot of people already have like some type of mentality of how you're gonna act, or how you're gonna talk, or what are you gonna do, or how you're gonna achieve some things in the class. So I feel like it's an extra pressure on me and on everybody else in the community. Basically, do everything on my own because I don't like involving my mom in my hardships, because she is already going through so much. So another problem to her, I feel like it's gonna be too much, and she won't know how to handle it. She won't know how to help me, and my education has always been my priority ever since I got into this country, because the first reason for me to come to this country in general was to get a better education and for me to progress in life, because most of my family members have not gone to college. Most of my cousins have not gone to college. My mom did go to college, but it was in DR, and it doesn't really translate over here. You had to get like a lower income job in order to be able to afford anything. Right now, she's taking care of my grandma. She's a home care assistant for her, and before she worked with my grandma, she was in general like a home care assistant for other people. And I think that's one of the main jobs that you can actually get that pays somewhat well in New York City as a Latino that does not speak any English, and the pay is not even good. So I just tend to really be hyper independent and try to solve my problems on my own, and not really let her in on too much, because I know that's gonna stress her out a lot, and she's gonna want to help me out. But even though I appreciate that, I know it's gonna be a lot on her plate as well. So I'd rather just take it all in myself and figure things out, and then communicate when everything's resolved, which is what it's an issue, but I think that's just the best way to go forward. Bye.